Today we're talking about something very serious that has flown under the radar. Not only has it affected our generation, I'm 39, so my generation of women that are going into perimenopause, having thinning hair, acne, bloating, belly fat, excess weight, depression, anxiety, chin hair, mood disorders, having pains, aches and pains in our bodies, in our joints. You're gaslighted by the people that you try to get help from, and sometimes even turned away, put on psych meds as if you're making this up. First of all, I just want you to know you're not making it up. Your digestion is out of whack. Your sleep, what is that? And I understand that because I've been there. I've had those feelings. Then you start to feel like your confidence goes out the window and you feel unattractive and your skin is getting old. So you're looking old. You have no energy. It's like, what happened to my body and who stole it? And could I ever get it back? Today we're talking about the number one thing that has been adding and causing these symptoms for generations and has been allowed to keep affecting us negatively. So here we go. I want you to guess what this is. No peeking. Put it in the comments. Guess what I am describing. I'm going to tell you what it says here, okay? Causes headaches, migraines, depression, anxiety, interferes with your body's ability to handle stress, affects your sleep-wake cycles and may be contributing to your insomnia, increases risk of hypertension, clots, strokes, can increase cholesterol, mineral and vitamin deficiencies, which lead to fatigue, brain fog, low moods, can increase your risk of gallbladder disease. It can cause bleeding, vaginal dryness, decreased libido, irregular bleeding, negatively impact your sexual desire, increase your risk against cysts. It can negatively affect your bone mineral density, which means it can increase things like osteoporosis. This is one thing, y'all. One thing. It can increase breast and cervical cancer risks. Okay, we didn't talk about the things that you normally see. And that's the one thing that women don't like the most, even above and beyond all these things that I mentioned that are just horrible. And that is increase your weight. I hope you've guessed by now that we're talking about the pill. The pill has hugely impacted women's hormones and caused this chaos that I'm reading from this poster on healthline.com, and research studies back all this data to show that the pill has huge side effects and huge implications on your health, not just right now, but even later in life. In fact, I was reading the pill and its effects in young people. Teenage girls who use birth control pills are more likely to cry, sleep too much, and experience eating issues than their peers who don't use oral contraceptives. They are more prone to be at risk of depression even in adulthood, regardless of whether they continue taking the pills when they are older. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mental health issues are on a high rise, especially in teenage girls. And yes, we can blame social media, and yes, we can talk about all these things, but how about the pill that's being handed out by doctors and practitioners at record rates to teenagers? Why? For acne? Acne. These girls are trading acne for increased cancer, increased depression, low libido, low fertility levels, and everything else we just talked about, including all the way to when they're older and have osteoporosis. And things that affect their daily lives, like fatigue because of mineral and vitamin deficiencies. That's what the trade is. But here's the thing. It's okay if someone is clearly told and honestly told that, hey, listen, you can take the pill for your acne, but just so you know, this is what you're trading, your future joy with the depression. And I'm going to show you how the pill does that in just a few moments. Or you're going to have anemia from heavy bleeding and random cycles of bleeding that happen, or it's going to increase your rates of cancer. One study showed that out of 150,000 women that were researched, it increased the risk of cancer for women who were taking the pill by 24%. 24% of the risk you already have because of lifestyle things, or because of genetics, or because of whatever. Diet, lack of exercise. Now imagine if someone were to give you the choice and educate you and say, here, you can either take the pill, and this is what it's going to come with. It's going to come with this increase in cancer. It's going to come with your bone density loss. It's going to come with an increase in hypertension and clots and strokes and cardiovascular disease. And it's going to, would you take that route? Or would you ask 5 words, the 5-word question that I encourage anybody ask every time you're given a diagnosis and medication? Just ask. You're not being disrespectful. In fact, you're actually saving your life and maybe giving your healthcare provider a lot of joy by asking these 5 words. What else can I do? Why? Because maybe then they'll see that you're someone who's well invested in your health, and they will give you solutions. There are things you can do other than take the pill, whether it is for your hair loss or heavy bleeding. People are given the pill for heavy bleeding. Here's the kicker. One of the side effects of taking the pill is heavy bleeding. Do you know why cycles are irregular? Because of hormone imbalance. Do you know why teenagers are having huge eruptions of acne? Hormone imbalance. Do you know why people are having terrible period pains? Hormone imbalance. I went through that. I remember what it felt like to have skin that I described as sandpaper. I was erupting, and not in my teenage years. I would have been happy because everyone else around me was erupting to some degree, right? Some people just passed by unscathed. But I was erupting in my 20s, and my skin was just out of order. And I felt like hiding. It was horrible. I didn't want to be that person. So I understand what teenagers are going through with so much pressure, especially being a teen today. But did you know that even teenagers can balance their hormones, can reset their hormones using natural means? One of the biggest ways to do that is to remove things from our lives that are causing hormone disruptions. It's easy. You don't have to think of adding to your life or to your schedule, but there are some triggers like mines in a minefield that we're stepping on without knowing it's there, and having our hormones go crazy and take negative control of our body. Now, if you would like to dive deeper into what some of those mines are in that hormone minefield, definitely click the description below. I have a masterclass coming up where we hang out and we can go deep. We want to talk about the truth and help the next generation. Listen to this quote by Maya Angelou. She has this beautiful quote, and she says, every time a woman stands up for herself without knowing it and possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women. How beautiful is that? So if you would like to stand up for yourself and other women in your life, you can invite them to the masterclass. Space is limited, so book your seat, get your seat. I give you a cheat sheet so you can look down at your day and see where all the mines are in the minefield and avoid them. And you're gonna boost your energy, boost your metabolism, melt fat, all that stubborn weight, clear your skin. I had to do it for myself, and for the past 9 years, I've been helping other women do it. The pill is something that is causing generational hormone imbalance. You may say, well, Annie, I have all these things that you just talked about, but I wasn't on the pill. Sure, there may be other things going on with your hormones and other things disrupting your hormones, like we will talk about in the masterclass. But it could also be that maybe your mom was on the pill or her mom. And the way that works is every woman is born with the eggs that she's going to have. They're not mature, but they're there and waiting when we are born. So if I, as a mom, have hormone imbalances, and I did give birth to a little girl in my state of hormone imbalance, she's likely going to have hormone imbalances built into her body system. That means she's already starting off in the negative, which means if I don't change my lifestyle and remove hormone triggers from my life and educate her on how she can remove hormone triggers from her life, she's going to have huge outbursts of hormone imbalances like crazy acne and crazy PMS and cramps. And you're going to have your teenage daughter, and why don't I get along with my daughter anymore? We can't seem to even have one conversation that does not go explosive. No, it's not your fault, but neither is it her fault. She's taken over by hormones that are dictating how she feels, how she reacts, how she fails to sleep, how she cries so much and is so depressed. And you've seen that the pill can do that. Now, how does that work, and why does it work that way with the pill? The way the pill works is it stops a woman from ovulating. It stops a teenager from ovulating. And while that may seem like freedom, you by now know, especially if you're an adult and you have lifed, that if you interfere with a system, you're going to have interference in another system. What does that do? Number one, it already disrupts your hormones because your body is always breaking down and throwing away excess hormones, some which we lose through our blood. And that keeps the cycle going well. So when you bleed monthly, your excess hormones, some toxins are lost, and it keeps the system in balance. Another way in which the system is disrupted when you don't have your monthly cycle is that very sac where your egg is in. Every woman's egg is in a little sac. Think of a tangerine or an orange and how you have that shell around it, but the actual orange is inside. Your egg, your ovum, is protected in a case. And what happens is when that egg matures and is about to be released, the case breaks open, it bursts open because of hormones that tell it, hey, release the egg. That's the hormone cycle. The pill interferes. So now you don't release the egg. But here's what happens if the egg was released. You would have this sac. Think of your orange skin, the orange peels, right? You would have this sac, and that sac is called the corpus luteum. What it does is it produces progesterone. Progesterone is like your cheer team in your body. It's that hormone that makes you feel good about yourself. It's your happy hormone. So you just have these little cheerleaders, just, yay, you're so awesome. It's such a good day. You're chirpy, you're bright. You just have this great attitude and outlook on life. And so when stressors come, you're like, nope, not today. You're not going to stress me because I have a good outlook on life. Progesterone levels are high. What else does progesterone do? Progesterone, if you were to have to get pregnant, it helps sustain the pregnancy. So you know these days a lot of people are unable to sustain a pregnancy until they rebalance their hormones. Sometimes they're given chemical progesterone to do that. Why? Because the system knows that they've knocked out your progesterone so bad. Now you're unhappy, your weight is out of order. Because when your progesterone is out of order, other hormones are out of order, because progesterone is a base on which other hormones are made. I want you to see how serious it is that we stop ourselves from ovulating every month. Month after month of stopping your progesterone from being released by your corpus luteum, that factory that makes good, beautiful progesterone for you, is a month of piling just negative hormones and bad moods and excess weight. And then you start to increase your androgens, which are your male hormones, and you see chin hair and thinning hair and terrible acne, which can also happen after the pill. So what do we do? What can we do? We can reset your hormones. It's so simple. You can do it even if you have bad genes at any age, whether you're in menopause, perimenopause, maybe you've just given birth and you have really bad postpartum depression and your hormones are out of whack. Maybe you are so stressed and your body is not taking stress well and you don't know what to do. You can reset your hormones, and I can show you how. If you sign up for the masterclass, we're going to talk about all the minefields that you can escape to remove the sources of hormone imbalance, all the chaos in your life. And then I can show you 4 moves, not 28, not 57, but 4 simple moves that you can take, apply in your life today, and start seeing results. You can also look at this video that I made, which shows you foods you can start to eat to incorporate in your body, in your daily regimen of eating, of nutrition, to help your body fight off androgens and get your hormones back in order. Or this other video here where you can look at some herbs that will help you and just give you that boost. I've heard from women who have had their hormone imbalances steal relationships because they thought that they were not worthy of relationships that they were so worthy of. And the person pursued them, but they felt like they were not ready, or they didn't have anything to bring just because of how they felt about themselves. I've heard from women who have had hormone imbalances steal that promotion from them because they felt unworthy. And there's a saying that says, the person who shows up with the most confidence wins. Unfortunately, not the most knowledgeable, not the most experienced sometimes, just the most confidence. So if you're on the pill and you're wondering, how do I get off? I was listening to a podcast by Dr. Axe, and he was talking about how a lot of women have all this trouble when they're trying to get off the pill. They have hormonal chaos take over and they just jump right back in because they're like, it's safer on this side. Well, you're gonna go through that valley. You're gonna go through that detox process. It's going to be rough. But on the other side of those rough nights and those rough moods which happen anyway, is peace, is calm, is a mind that feels like yours again, is a body that looks like yours again, is joy, is energy for you to take and pursue whatever it is you want to pursue in life. On the other side of your freedom from the chaos of the hormone disruption that the pill is causing in your life is all this beauty. And let's not forget, you won't have to deal with the 24% increase in certain cancers, the clots and the hypertension and the heart disease and the weight gain and all this that is just purely driven by the pill. Just imagine what that life is like if just one of those things went away for you. If you just got your hair back. All right, ladies, listen. I know this was a lot, and there are conversations you may have to have with your healthcare provider and talk to them about the pill and ask them the question, what else can I do? And if that person tells you that there's nothing else you can do, listen. for your own health's sake and for your child's or your niece or your grandchild's or whoever is coming after you, for their sake, find another provider. Every good doctor, and I know there's so many, will give you your options because there's so many options. Go up, stand up for yourself, and without knowing it and without trying to get the limelight, you will probably be standing up for so many other women, even that random girl who will see you in Walmart and just be drawn to you and your confidence and the way you carry yourself and your fitness and your health and your radiance, your skin glow, your thick hair, and just say, you know what? One day I'm going to be like her. She doesn't know the struggle. She doesn't know the journey it took to get you there, but you've just inspired her. So I wish you wellness. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.